Hello and welcome to Conan Exiles. Now today I've got a bit of an update video for you, but it'll be an update video with a little bit of a difference because this will be, as the title suggests, a video going through what I feel is the best armour for your thralls, or your friends as we like to call them. This will be an update video to the previous one I did a little while ago, but obviously it'll be an update video with a bit of a difference because as it stands at the moment now with the latest feature, we can also include our crafters in this. This doesn't really apply as much in PvE, it'd be more of a priority in PvP, but if people want to do it just for the aesthetics of keeping everybody the same and keeping their people a bit more protected, then we'll take a look into that and I'll explain a bit more in detail, so let's jump into it. Okay, so we'll briefly just touch on this one. As I was saying, you can now include your crafters in this as well, and as we can see for two examples here, we've got our smelter and our alchemist working away there. And as you can tell with the alchemist, she's wearing a different set of boots and a different pair of pants, or trousers as we like to call them, but she's still wearing the top which has the apron attached to it, same as our smelter here. If we take a look at them now, previously with your crafter people you couldn't change their armor, but now if you interact with them you get a menu for them just like you do your regular fighters. Obviously her picture's missing there for some reason, must be a bit of a visual bug, but as you can see she has the middle section which shows she has a weapon on her, and she can function just like a fighter can do. And over on the right you can see her dietary needs, weapon slots, and also the armor slots that you can see. So she's in a full agility set, I think this one would be, because she's a agility fighter, which we'll take a look at in a moment. So she's in the full Stygian soldier, I believe that is, which is crafted with the shieldrite armourer to give us the most armour value, and then just attached to the bulk plating. And then we've just used the medium boots, the leggings of Azura, and the apron for the top piece because they're technically still workers, so we still want them to look a little smarter but still have a bit of a worker appearance. Same with the alchemist again. He's another agility based person once again, exactly the same setup. But if you access their information, as you'll see, just like a fighter, an archer, or an entertainer, they can level up, they can gain XP and gain health, and as you can see on the left there, they've got various numbers in each statistic depending on which faction they're from. A lot of these are the Relic Hunter faction, so they have the higher amounts and everything, just as your Relic Hunter like Treasure Seekers would have, for example, and percentage chances of leveling up in those particular areas. And I've only tested a couple so far, but they do seem to be pretty good. The Lone Fisherman, if you have a few knocking about and you want to take one out with you as a fighter, kit them up properly in something strong like the Stygian soldier, and they'll be pretty fine in that, and give them a decent weapon. You don't have to give them daggers. I've just given all mine daggers in here because they do wander outside the front of the base where they've got a little seating area. But this applies to any of your crafters, your blacksmiths, your carpenters, your cooks, whoever they are. You can do this with them and you can have them follow you just as you can any other followers. So if I was to grab this young lady here a moment, ask her to follow me, as you can see the furnace will go off and she'll follow me just like any other person. And if we quickly interact with that again while she's nearby, we'll still get the benefit, but it could be that if she was away from the base with me that wouldn't show up anymore, possibly. I don't know if that is an actual thing, so let me know in the comments if you do know. If you're in a clan of more than one person, if somebody has taken the only smelter away with them, do they still appear on the bench or have they disappeared? Be interesting to see if that is a thing, but yeah, you can do that just as you see there, and then I can get her to stop again, take hold of her, and I can place her back at that one instead of this side. And obviously as you can see she's over on that one, but she's still affecting that furnace as well. And it's exactly the same with your alchemist, your carpenter, your blacksmith, whoever you've got. They will all do exactly the same thing, but now at least you can, using the thaumaturgy bench from sorcery, make them look a bit smarter and have a uniform or whatever style you want to use. But you can give them a proper armor set so they're nice and protected, especially in PvP, so that if your base gets raided, hopefully they're able to defend themselves and also act as another type of fighter for base defense. Okay then, so I hope that gives you a brief overview there of what you can do with crafters if you already have them and you haven't really thought about that yet, or it also gives you a bit of an insight on what to do once you do have some decent named crafters that you want to keep. As I say, I wouldn't recommend taking them out and about really as a fighter necessarily, especially not a bladesmith or a shield right, because they can be so hard to come by that if they die in combat, then obviously you'd be gutted and have a lot of stress and hard work to go out and try and find yourself another one. So stick to your regular fighters that you have and your archers or your entertainers for your combat side of things. Focus on them. It's just more of an idea for when it comes to base defense, especially more so on PvP. But I hope you found that bit helpful. So to take a bit more of a dive into it, if we're talking about our fighters and archers, and this is certainly to help people at the beginning of the game, if you're starting out down here on New River and you've got a little base built and you're kind of wandering about a little bit here between the summoning place, Thugger's stand and sort of around the New River area, I wouldn't go too far from here early on. But if you've got lucky and managed to knock out yourself a tier 4 as they're called, even though it's a one skull fighter, that's this person here. Although they appear as a one skull boss wandering around, you can actually knock them out and they are a fighter that you can gain. As you can see there, they can level up. They have so many points in vitality or health already, as you can see, so many points in different stats, and you can level them up. Not the greatest of people, but okay as an early starter, early game type fighter. Not going to go into too much detail in all of these because that's not for this video. This is more about what armor to put them in, but they're just an example of one person you can get. Or as you wander more to your Defari faction, you can get yourself a Thugger from Thugger's stand. He's a named fighter again. He's guaranteed where he spawns. I'll show you at the end of this video where each of these can be found. And also again, you then have the Cannibal Brute, who is a tier 4 Defari fighter, so a named Defari fighter, and they have a couple of guaranteed spawn locations as well. 2 in the summoning place and 1 down on New River, which can be a little trickier to get to early on, but these can be good to get hold of as well. Thugger's pretty easy to get because you can take out the camp that he's in without him even knowing and then just take him on your own. But as I say, I will show you at the end of this video. So then as you're progressing up your chain, you can then use these lower levels to eventually get yourself a Relic Hunter Fighter 3, which can be found excuse me, up here at Sepamaru. You can have a look around and get yourself a decent fighter from there. And as you'll notice again, they are still agility focused, but they have a few more points in agility, a bit more base vitality and slightly better armor than the lower levels. And they start at 0, so they're a pretty decent fighter to then get, who can then in turn help you get your Relic Hunter Treasure Seekers, who are a slightly better version once again. So you can then progress up to these, and these will help you again, bit more health, bit more agility strength, and they'll help you progress. But again, we're not looking into that in this video. But then they will then ultimately help you progress up to your end game, where you go looking for your Leons, your Berserkers and your Delincias, which Delincia and the Berserker are certainly 2 of the real big fan favourites. There are a lot of people that still like Leon, but big majority seem to favour the Berserker and Delincia over them. Just got those dressed the way they are so that when you do find them, you'll have an idea of what they look like. Delincia can be found at Mounds of the Dead in a few different locations, and also at Stargazer's Crest, a little camp just sort of north of there. She's wearing the coarse top on here, but for those who are interested, when you find her in the world, she won't have a top on. She will actually be topless, but this is YouTube and got to keep it clean. But she'll be seen wearing the bottom half of the Sumerian fur armor. Your Sumerian Berserkers will be male or female, and they have a guaranteed spawn again. Again, I'll show you at the end of this video. Leon, up at Leon's watch, he also has a guaranteed spawn as well, so he will always be on that same spot, and that's how he would look when you're aiming to get your slightly higher people, which again come with higher stats and higher vitality, which we'll look at all this in the future and go into them in a different video, and who I recommend you should maybe get and why you should get them and what they're good for, but this is more of a focus on their armour. Right then, so when you've got hold of your first friends, be they low level down on the river, and this can also apply to if you get yourself lucky to get a Delincia earlier on, if you've got higher up, or if the Headhunter event has been on and you've been able to buy yourself one from that event and you've got lucky and been given a Delincia, then you're very lucky. Or you've been and got Leon or a Berserker. This is probably more for mid-game. There's a couple of ways you can dress your friends, shall we call them, and this would apply to any fighter, any archer, and as I said earlier, your crafters as well. The recommended armour to use for them really is heavy armour, because your friends are going to do probably a lot of your fighting for you, so if they are, you want them in good heavy armour so that they can survive. And one of the heavy armours you can craft fairly early on as well is this one that our gentleman here is wearing. This is the Barakan Reaver, or Barachan Reaver, however you want to pronounce it. These armours were all just spawned in, they haven't been made with a special crafter or anything like that, just so that you can kind of see what they look like. But as we can see there, they give health, health, health again, health again, and health again. So they are a full health set, so they will give your friend not a huge boost, but a little boost to their vitality. Ultimately, you want them to be given grilled steak for vitality growth, or gruel for strength growth if they are a growth in strength. If they are an agility person, like your Relic Hunter Treasure Seekers or your Relic Hunter Fighters, then you want to focus on agility. So you'd need to give them food that matches to that, but ideally at first you probably want to focus on vitality early on. If they're a strength fighter, another option you've got is what our young lady's wearing here. This is the Hyperborean Slaver set, which is another heavy armour. So that's her stats, as you can see there. But the difference with this set is this gives a strength weapon bonus plus armour, the same as the other one. That gives armour too, but it gives us a strength weapon bonus on each piece. And the better quality of crafted armour, the more percentage you get on your strength weapon bonus, so it'll go from a low level to slightly higher. And then if you equip this with some platings later on, which we'll talk about when we come to the end result really, but early game, if you just pop something like this on your strength focused friends, that will actually give them a boost to their strength, whereas this set only gives a boost to vitality, which you can notice at the bottom of his health bar there. Doesn't show you anything on the left, but if we look at our strength person here, you can see there how they have a slight increase on the strength damage. So if we go to Leon, for example, he's wearing his base armor that he would, or clothing that he would come with, and you can already see there with the strength weapon bonus of what he gets, it's higher anyway because he is higher level. But Barakan Reaver is a really good one if you want a full health set. If you're a bit more mid to late game and you're able to get up to Mounds of the Dead, which is up here in the sort of far northwest of the map, and you can kill a lot of Sumerian Berserkers or the Sumerians up there, you can collect yourself some of this armour. This is the Sumerian Steel Armour, which again is a heavy armour, and it's an armour bonus and health bonus, so you get health bonuses from this one. Possibly a little better than the Barakan Reaver, but pretty much the same type of thing. They are both a heavy armour, just the Barakan Reaver can be crafted early on. Sumerian Steel, you have to be a bit higher level to unlock to be able to craft it, or you can just pick up the pieces from Mounds of the Dead from people that you kill. However, it will be damaged, so it won't necessarily give them the full benefit, but that will give them a boost to health. So that's all well and good, and that will get you through the game for your strength people. And then if we come along a little bit more to these ones here, we're progressing a little further in, but also still looking at armour for different people again. So if we take a look at this one here, this is the Stygian Soldier heavy armour, so like you saw our crafter wearing inside. Stygian Soldier is a heavy armour once again, which gives an armour bonus, and it also gives us a slight boost to our agility, which again I've got some people at the end here that I'll show you both strength and agility, so you can see the benefit of a fully crafted armour set done with a shield right and with a bulked plating on each piece, so that you'll see the entire armour value and just how good it is and why it is. But if you're going agility with your people, so if they're relic hunters or agility focused people, then the Stygian Soldier heavy armour is a pretty good one to make. Again, the best version of this is unlocked when you hit level 60. If you pop them in that, they won't get any points to vitality with wearing this, but they will gain a bonus in agility. And a better option for your strength fighters when you're further up in the game and you've ventured up here into the snow and you've taken on the Black Keep up here and you defeated the Kinscourge and learned the Silent Legion recipe. You will learn the Silent Legion Light, the Silent Legion Medium, the Silent Legion Heavy, and then the Redeemed Legion, which if you craft the Redeemed Legion with your shield right, that will give you the most armor value on all of them, but even more so the Redeemed Legion is slightly better than the regular Silent Legion. As you can see, this gives strength bonuses, a health bonus, carry weight and stamina. This is another good set once again, but it's not the ideal set for your strength based person. So if you want to give Delincia or a Cimmerian Berserker a really good set, we've actually got something that a lot of people will say is the perfect set for them. This is an okay one to start with, and you will get some good damage out of them if they get some really good perks when they level up, and they'll do well. But if you want them to do even better, then there's a way that you can build their armor set, which we'll take a look at, and you might just be surprised. Right, I know what you're thinking, I know what you're saying. You've gone through all this so far in this video, but you still don't get which is the best armor for followers. What am I going to recommend? Well, I've got two particular sets that I'm going to recommend, although one isn't technically a set, but there are two sets that I'm going to recommend, one for agility and one for your ultimate strength boosting set, which is ideal for Leon, Cimmerian Berserker, Delincia, or anybody else that is a strength build. It's perfect for them. And also the other set is perfect for your agility based people, whether you're taking them out and about in the world as a combat person or as a base defense like an archer, and it's the two you can see behind me at the moment. So our first one, as we've already mentioned, is the Stygian Soldier heavy armor, and this is how it looks when you craft it. One complete set, and as we've already said, gives an agility weapon bonus. Alright, looks hideous. You can obviously change this if you've learned sorcery. You can use the Thaumaturgy bench, which is this bench here. You can place each piece in the first slot there with a set of earrings if you want to give them a set of earrings for a headpiece, the different chest piece, the legs, the hands, the feet, whatever you want to use, and illusion them into something different. So just for example, those who play on my server will recognise the young lady in the middle as one of my guards from the palace. So this is the set that she's wearing. She's level 20, as you can see, and you see all her perks and bonuses she's getting there. But if we take a look at her set, you can see her armor value over on the right hand side there. And this was crafted with a tier 4 shield right armourer, and then fitted out with the bulked plating to give her the most armor value. So as you can see, she's still wearing the Stygian Soldier heavy armor, but looks much nicer in the sense that you can actually see what her face looks like and her hair looks like. But then she's kitted out in a uniform, as we would call it. And you can obviously use this for other people as well. And there's probably a reason why you would want to do this, especially for the next set that we're going to cover. And it's to give you an example here. You've got Delincia, who's dressed up same as me. We've run her in the past in streams and on videos, and you've seen her in that outfit as well. She's wearing the new set, which we're going to look at the moment. And I say new, it's not new. It's been kind of the way my followers have been run for a long, long time. And a lot of other people run this way as well, just with maybe one or two different pieces than what we use. But again, this is not me ever saying to anybody this is what you must use. It's just this is what I use and why I use it and why I recommend that you use it. But ultimately at the end of the day, you build your followers the way you want to build them. It's just I get asked so many times in the comments, how does your Delincia or how's your Berserker hitting so hard and got so much damage, and how are they surviving so well? You must have your damage boosted up on the server, which we haven't. And it's all down to the perks that they get when they level up, the potion and the food buffs that they have, and then to top it all off, the armor that they're wearing. And you can also do this for our good old friend Leah here, who is Leah Neely, of course, the entertainer. Again, dressed up to look a little bit different, because if she was also wearing the set we're going to look at, she'd look a bit crazy as well. Well, that's just her kind of style for this particular series that I've gone with. So she's our named entertainer, also using momentum for her weapon. Pretty good fighter to take out with you. Still hits pretty hard and has pretty good health. So that's what they look like when this said armor set has been changed into an appearance. But what are we referring to? Well, the one we're referring to is this one right here, which when you look at it, I know what you think. Oh my goodness me, what on earth is that? And yeah, it looks a right mashup, and that's because, believe it or not, it is. And the reasons why it is like this is because each of these pieces gives the best or one of the closest of the best armor value for them, but it also gives the highest damage bonus for each piece, and especially if this is on a Delincia or a Sumerian Berserker, then this gives them bonuses to strength in every single piece. So if we take a look there, you've got the Redeemed Legion helmet at the top, which is a strength weapon bonus. Then we're using the Voidforged Dragonbone chest, so it's the heavy chest piece from the Voidforged Dragon set, again for a strength weapon bonus and high armor. Some people say to use medium gloves for the hands, but personally I prefer to stick with the heavy Godbreaker once you can learn those. Champion's leggings, again, there are other strength sets that you could use, maybe the Tavern Guard or the Pictish War Chief if you prefer those, but they will still give the same bonuses and the same armor pretty much. And then this bottom piece, again, the feet is a bit of a, different people have different views on it. You can use the Hyperborean Slaver if you've got those early on, Pictish War Chief again, or the Tavern Guard set, something that gives you a good strength weapon bonus. Or a lot of other people will say because of the high armor value to use the Perfected Heavy Sabatons, which, yes, I'm not discounting those, they are very good as well. They are high armor value and they give a strength bonus. They do also give an agility bonus, which I know a lot of people say don't worry about because it doesn't really affect them. But me just being me, I don't like to see an agility bonus on a person that hasn't got any agility on them whatsoever, even if it's only just 2 or 3 points of it. I don't know why, but I just can't focus on seeing those numbers. I just like to purely see the armor and the strength that they're getting. So again, you could have your friend running around like this, but let's just face it, it looks ridiculous because it's a mashup of all different sets. But as we've just said, you can quite easily get yourself a Delincia Snow Hunter, which don't know why that's showing up like that, because she should have that armor set on, but it's not showing up for some reason. That's strange. But yeah, that was the appearance she'd been given. As we can see there, the Stygian Soldier, full heavy armor, high armor value, and a vigor boost to their agility on each piece. And then Miss Leah Neely, again wearing the strength booster set, but slightly different on legs and feet. You can see there. She's using the Pictish War Chief legs and feet, but still getting a really good high armor value bonus as well, even though it's a different set, so you could use those. That's how they would look. But then when dressed up in a different set, that's using one of the pieces from the Aquilonian set, I believe the top is, and then she's just got gold earrings, gold bracelets, the Hycerian or Hicarian tasset for the legs, and then there's a Morian Thief for the boots. That's the Poltain Cavalier, I believe it is. I could be wrong, but it's one of the Poltain sets for them. And then Delancey's wearing what I'm wearing again, which is the Zamorian Thief boots, the Hicarian pants, the Lemurian chest piece, and again gold earrings and bracelets, pretty much like what we're wearing. Then if I show you mine, as you can see there in the middle, we're wearing the full Redeemed Legion set, but obviously disguised as a different appearance. So that is pretty much what the set pieces are that we would use for the various different peoples. Whether they're a strength based person, you want to get the best strength armor that you can for them. If they're agility focused, you want to get the best agility armor for them that you can. But it's entirely up to you. Like I say, a lot of it depends on the food and potion buffs that you give them and the perks that they gain as they level up. But my two personal recommendations are the Stygian Soldier for agility people and the mix-up, as it's called, for the ultimate strength set for Delincia and your Sumerian Berserker. Like I say, I get asked a lot in the comments and even in streams and other things like that, about how does your Delincia hit so hard? Now obviously this one is a level 0, so you can see just by wearing the basic spawned in version of that armor how she looks with the different stats and whatever that she gets. But that's how they would look. So ultimately at the end of endgame, this is what all of my Berserkers and Delincias that I have, and Leonili of course, are all wearing. They're wearing this set. It's not something new, that there's no meta with it. It's not a you must get them wearing this, but I recommend this because if you want them to last longer, because let's face it, some of those fights out there are pretty tough. And yeah, my Delincias and Berserkers make it look very easy, but that is purely why, because of the salted pork buff and the pork rinds, and then the elixir of might or the black lotus potion boost that you give them, which each gives them a nice little boost to their various different stats, and then that's why they do the sort of damage that they do. And you can go and take on bosses like the Brute in the Unnamed City, the Red Mother. You can even go into the War Makers and complete that really easily, potentially even take on the champion with them, and you won't have them just getting two-tapped by her and killed really easily. So that is an update to best armor for your followers. Once again, for those who are interested with this strength set, the ultimate goal at the end is the Redeemed Legion helmet, the Voidforge heavy chest piece, Godbreaker grips for the hands, the Champion's leggings, and then the boots of your choice, so either Hyperborean Slaver boots, or the Tavern Guard if you have those, or if you have the DLC for the Pictish War Chief, use those, or if you've done the journey step to unlock the Perfected Armour, then Perfected Heavy is your other option for the feet. Okay, so as promised, I'd point out a couple of areas very quickly for you to keep an eye out for people to get yourself at the start of the game, and you can just see one young lady there wandering off in the background. This is one of the one skull bosses that you can find. As you see, one skull, so essentially they are a boss, but they are totally tameable. You can knock them out with your truncheon, just be very careful because they do hit quite hard if you're quite low level. So just be prepared, ideally bring a character where you can use a shield, especially if it's this one with a spear. This one is wearing the regular heavy armour. They do appear to wear the medium sometimes as well. But she's just walking off into the water now for some reason. But yeah, they can also spawn in the medium armour as well. You'll find another one just around about here as well. There is another one, I believe, back down the river around in this area somewhere, I think it is. I can't remember exactly where they are, but they spawn around about there. And there is another one if you go under the bridge here and take a left, follow it around and take a left again. You'll find somebody just up at this ridge wandering around close to the Defari camp as well. And then to get your Cannibal Brutes and Thugra, we'll go over here to the Summoning Place and Thugra stand and show you where you find them, but that's where you get your Noob River people. Okay, so here we are at our next location. We are outside the Summoning Place, and this is where we are on the map, just here. So it's this little spot here, just south of the sinkhole, which is just here, and the Thugra stand is just across this other side. But if we go inside here, I'm going to use creative mode, obviously, just so that nothing aggroes. But you will have to fight your way through all of these. And again, if you're really low level, be careful, because these guys do hit pretty hard. You can get a named entertainer in here. You can get a Yogg priest or a witch doctor at this location here as well. If you're after one, then the witch doctor is good for your tier 4 alchemist essentially. But again, you'll have to fight through all of these people. Well, one of your locations for a cannibal brute is this spawn here. You'll always be laying on the floor at this side, and it can be a male or a female. That's your cannibal brute. And across the opposite side again, you've got another location where you'll have a sorcerer stood here. So if you're doing the event, you've got sorcerers to choose from. And then occasionally there can be a fighter 3 stood here, but typically this will be again your cannibal brute, and as you can see, quite tall compared to what we are, but obviously when you tame them into a person to follow you, they'll be pretty much the same height as you are. So that's your second guaranteed spawn for your cannibal brute. There is a third location where you can get one, but again, this is a bit more tricky because you can get overwhelmed really easy early game. But if you come down here to the dregs and stood at the very bottom of the stairs into the dregs, there is another spawn location there for the cannibal brute to spawn. But probably I would say build yourself up a little bit and fight your way into here to get yourself a brute from there. Then if we just nip across here, as you can see, this is where the caravan would be if the sorcerer event is on. This will be here. And you'd have this camp here, which is Thugra's stand. So you'll have that guy to kill there. See where we are here now, Thugra's stand. Take all of these guys out. Again, I am cloaked and in god mode so they can't see me. But you will have a jailer to contend with now as well, now that we have cages in the map as well. So there's your jailer, and there's your cage. So you take all of these guys out, and then if you're looking for Thugra, then you want to come across here, and as you'll see, he stood all on his own on the edge of this little cliff is Thugra, and he's a guaranteed spawn. If you are going to knock him out, when you get his aggro, probably around about here, I would make him come a bit further in and fight him in here, because likelihood is if you try and knock him out on that edge, he's just going to fall off, and then you're going to have to go and try and find him, or he's going to get up and run around there and try and come back up. So if you want him as a follower, nice and easy to get. Like I say, always a guaranteed spawn. Hits pretty decent early game and has okay health. May not survive too well later game, but early to mid game, definitely a good one. And just while we're here, there's a couple of people in my community that will kind of find this kind of funny. It's just a bit of fun as well, so please don't take this serious. This is purely a bit of fun, but if you're on a bit of a downer, you're having a bit of a bad day and you need a bit of a laugh, you can always run up here and give Thugra a little kick off the cliff, and he'll just stand up. Obviously, he'll see you quicker than that, but just run up to him, give him a kick, and as you see, he'll land on his backside down there, run all the way back up, figure out where he's going, and then he'll just stand back where he was, wondering what the heck just happened. So that's if you want a bit of fun. Then here we are up at a very wet and miserable highland, but as you can see, the gentleman stood next to me is Leon. So he will always be at this bonfire next to this little tower. He's a guaranteed spawn once again. You will have a couple of other people round about to deal with as well when you come up here. So just be wary of that. There is also a cage up here as well, but you've got Leon, who's a guaranteed spawn, and as you can see where we are on the map just here, up in the Highlands, just near to the Great Dam. So you're going to come up here to get yourself a Leon. This is where he will be, and as I say, a guaranteed spawn, pretty decent fighter and a favourite of a lot of people. I don't personally use him, but a lot of people do like him, so this is where you can come and get him from. Right, and apologies about the lighting with the weather, but just on a side note, you see this young lady wandering here. As Freya is now one of the 2 new companions that we can get, so she's not a normal tameable friend anymore. This young lady here, Dina Master Huntress, is still available, and she'll wander around here and sort of up and around the back of that pillar and on that side and around a little bit. So she is a guaranteed archer spawn, and that's a strength-based archer as well. So again, just here, kind of southeast of Leon's Watch. Guaranteed spawn once again. She can occasionally die to 2 or 3 wolves that are just down there if she ends up fighting them, so just be wary of that. So if she's not here, somebody's either recently just tamed her or she's died to the wolves, but this is where she can be. Just have a look around for her. As you can see, she'll wander up there a bit, come back down, and she'll wander up around that side and around the front here, but that's just as a quick side note for Dina Master Huntress. And then a lot of veteran players will recognise where I am at the moment, and no, don't get too excited. The young lady sat on the floor behind me is not Delincia, unfortunately, although this is a spot where she can spawn. We are up here at the Mounds of the Dead, just on this little mound at the very front here, up on Death Hill or Chaos Hill or Nightmare Hill, whatever you want to call it, because there's a few people up here that all hit pretty hard. You've now got a cage up here which seems to be a guaranteed barkeep. It could be different. Let me know if you found any different, but I'm hearing a lot of people say that it seems to be a guaranteed barkeeper in there. Well, no, the young lady there that you can see is the character model of Delincia Snowhunter, but it's actually our jailer. So if you're after the jailer for that cage, that's where they can be sat. Sometimes I think they can be sat this side. I have had it where the jailer's here and then Delincia's there. So if you ever pop your head up, don't always just think straight away Delincia's here, because it may not be. It could be the jailer. But this is one spot where Delincia can be. You can also wander as well. She can spawn inside one of the little mounds as well, so keep an eye on that. She can possibly be this wandering spawn, I believe, as well, as you can see there, which means she'll come up over this bridge here, and if she's wandering, she can wander up there or wander down from up there onto here. So she has a few different locations in the mounds that she can spawn, but she can also spawn at this small camp up here, Stargazer's Crest, where there are potentially 1 or 2 other fighters, so there can be Delincia plus 2 other people if she's there. So if she's not there, and you've checked all the mounds and she's not here, then she obviously hasn't spawned as yet, so keep trying and eventually she will spawn. She's not a guaranteed spawn, but she's one of, if not the best follower that you want on your roster, definitely. Then our last spot in the dreary Mounds of the Dead before we leave this area is our guaranteed Berserker spawn. As you can see them there walking off. They will occasionally go up onto that little bit and fight the wights that are up there, the skeletons. And as you can see, it can be a male or a female dressed in the full Sumerian armour. These guys do hit pretty hard, so again, be prepared. Come up with a good truncheon or a friendship stick, as we like to call it. And probably a shield if you're going to stand and take some damage off them, because these guys will aggro straight away. They're not aggroing right now because obviously I am cloaked in God mode, so essentially I'm not here. But they will wander up there, then typically wander in this area, and they are always guaranteed. However, if it's a male and you don't want a male, just kill them and then come back. I believe it's 15 to 20 minutes on an official server, slightly less on my server. And obviously on single player you can set your respawn rates as quick as you like or as long as you like. But this is a guaranteed spot for the Sumerian Berserker. This is where they will always be. Or if it's a female and you want male, kill the female, come back and see if it's a male next time. But this is where you'll get them from. So that is your Delincia and your Berserker. And then in a much nicer, drier and more pleasant place to be, you find yourself over here in Seppa Maru. All of this area you can have a look around, and you'll find yourself a good mixture of tier 1, 2 and 3 fighters and archers of the Relic Hunter faction. Now they may say Stygian or Shammai or all those different ones, but they are essentially the Relic Hunter faction, Like I said, they can be a mixture of fighters and archers, but you will also get your various different crafters here as well at different locations. Again, we'll do another walk around of this at some point if that's what people want, but you can also get named crafters and your set priests from here as well. But if you have a wander around all the different gateways, just have a look who's there. As I say, you'll find your various fighters and archers, level 1, 2 and 3, and possibly named as well. And you may also get yourself a named archer, which there are 2 females that can spawn in separate room, not guaranteed, but they can spawn as well, that are agility focused archers, can be pretty good too. And you can also get guaranteed taskmasters and sorcerers, there are guaranteed spots for them. And crafters, there aren't a lot of guaranteed spawns, but there are a few where you have a guaranteed fisherman, well not a lone fisherman but a cook rather, so a tier 1 to 3 cook or a lone fisherman, which is the tier 4 cook, can spawn on that island out there, so that'll be all on their own. Or you've got another little cook spawn just here, but if you're after the lone fisherman, your best bets are to be trying out on a little island. And again, you'll notice posted around are different fighters and archers, but you can keep an eye on those and see who you can get. These can be a bit more tricky. These are typically your carpenters. Again, named people can spawn at these locations. I've also seen one of the named taskmasters spawn here before now. That's the ones that wear the same clothing that these guys are wearing now. Not the taskmaster in the Hyperborean clothing, but the named one that wears the apron the same as these. 2 blacksmiths here, but this area can be a little bit more tricky if you're not careful. But if you pop up here, you'll find again fighters and archers. Guaranteed armourer spots, so this will always be an armourer. Can be a 1, 2, 3 or a named, so you're just going to have to keep killing this spot until you get named. Can't guarantee it with the named one you're after if you do eventually get one, but if you keep going, eventually I hope you'll get lucky and get yourself your shield right armourer. This is where I've usually found mine from, and a lot of people have, so keep an eye on this one. And another guaranteed blacksmith spot just here. So again, 2 blacksmiths, same as the one down there, can be from level 1 to named, so that's just a couple of named locations in separate room. But again, if you're looking for your Relic Hunter tier 3 fighters, this is where to come, or you can go behind Conan's bar and go into the first part of the wine cellar dungeon, but you will have to kill Seth the Drunk first and have a chance of getting his truncheon to get to the first few Relic Hunter treasure seekers that are in there. Or you can come down here to the silver mine, which now has a few Relic Hunters in there as well, and you can also knock one of them out from in there and get yourself a Relic Hunter treasure seeker as one of your fighters. So just a quick recap then, this armour situation applies to your fighters, archers, entertainers and even now your crafters. All I would say is when you are looking for armour for them, if you're looking for armour to actually make them a combatant, so a fighter of some sort and able to fight and survive, then have a look at what attributes they come with when you first get them and give them the armour based off that, so that you know that they're getting the best benefits that they can get. If you're just doing it for the clothing, just stick whatever clothing on them you want to pop on them. But that's entirely up to you. Same with your fighters and archers. If they are agility focused, stick with agility armour. Strength focused, definitely stick to strength. And you've seen what the ultimate strength set is for people like Delincia, Leon, the Sumerian Berserkers. And also an example of the best agility focused armour. Key thing is, if these people are going to be fighting for you, then you want them in the best. So always go with heavy armour, because in light or medium, you're probably going to be replacing them pretty regularly. And so there you have it, my friends. That does it for another one. Hope you found that one useful and helpful. Hope it's given you, if you're a new player, a bit of an understanding into why armour is important for your thralls or your friends. Hopefully it's given you an understanding of what to look for on the armour bonuses, so that it can tie up with the bonuses that the said person comes with, and what the benefits and bonuses are of doing that, of just how you can make them so much stronger and survive so much better, because there are lots of people who always ask, how do your falls hit so hard? Hopefully that's given you a bit of a clue now of how we do it, that it's all down to the food and the bonuses they get, the attributes that they level up with, And the key thing is the armour and why it can have more benefit to them, especially keeping them in heavy armour, because let's face it, if you lose your Delancey, you don't want to spend I don't know how many hours again trying to get another one to spawn, just so that you can then level her up again to then try again, and have the expense if you lose her armour as well of having to recraft it and start all over again, because it's a lot of work, let's face it. So anyway, yeah, I hope you found that one helpful. Whether you're a new player or a veteran player, hopefully you got something useful as well. Thank you for watching. If you did, leave your comments and your questions down below. Leave a like. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And at the time of this video, a Happy New Year to one and all. We're now in January 2025. Can't believe it. A whole brand new year. And hopefully an interesting year for the channel, with some new games to hopefully look at in the not too distant future. So yeah, that's it from me, guys. Until the next one, take it easy. Bye for now.